Hi, I'm Kourtney, and I'm a superhero, and I'm famous, and I wear hearing aids.
Hi, my name is Cassandra Throop, and this is Kourtney. She is 6 years old. This is Lucas. He is 7. And this is my oldest, Katie, and she is 8. So I have a 6, 7, and 8-year-old, and I have my hands full. And it's incredible the way that your journey comes sometimes in life and how hard it is when you're in the thick of things. When I had Katie and Lucas, I had a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a baby that was just born, and she failed her first hearing test, which I didn't think much of. And we had to keep going to doctors because they weren't sure what was going on. And then I heard the words, "Your daughter is deaf." And it was heartbreaking. It was like a death sentence. What am I supposed to do with the little girl that can't hear me? And so we went from doctor to doctor, and they said, let's get cochlear implant in her. And when you have a tiny little baby that doesn't stop crying and you don't know how to soothe them, you want the world for them, but I didn't know how to give it to her. So I started Google searching and looking at everything I could do, but I wasn't familiar with the deaf community. I wasn't part of it. I was part of the hearing community. And here was this beautiful, blue-eyed, beautiful baby that couldn't communicate with us. So we opted to not get the cochlear implant, and we started baby signing time. And she never spoke. She didn't talk to us. I think that the biggest milestone was when she was 1.5 years and she said, "milk." And that was the first time we connected. And so fast forward, she gets her hearing aids, and this girl is a fighter. She is smart, she is happy, she is the boss of our household. She loves everything, and there are times that I am so proud because she does more than I ever thought that she ever would. And she does it wearing hearing aids. She was recently moved over to mainstream regular school, which was hard for me because we had been sheltered in deaf schools where there were kids like her that wore hearing aids, that signed, and it was a little bubble, a tiny community that somehow we all felt part of. But they said that she wasn't deaf enough. So we went to mainstream, and she struggled. She didn't want to wear her hearing aids anymore. She didn't want to be different. She wanted to be like everybody else. She stopped wearing the hearing aids. She kept telling me she couldn't make friends. She kept getting shyer, and I didn't know what to do. Kids would come up to her and try to talk to her, and they thought that she was just disengaged. They didn't know why she wouldn't talk back to them. It's because she was missing it. And so for the last 2 years, we've been trying to get her new hearing aids. And it's hard because every doctor's office is different. They accept an insurance, but that insurance doesn't cover hearing aids. And we finally got an insurance that I called ahead of time. Do you guys give hearing aids? Absolutely. Take the insurance. We show up and they say, well, we don't get hearing aids with this one. We would have to drive to San Antonio, 4 hours away, to try to get her fitted. But if you've never gotten hearing aids before, it's not one visit. It's a visit where they test you, they get you fitted, then you have to come back to get your molds and your hearing aids. And with 3 kids, doing a 4-hour drive that way, 4 hours back, 8 hours, while I would do that anytime for my kid, it's just not something that was reasonable. It's just not fair. She has to have her hearing aids so that she can communicate with us. But it wasn't something that I could do for her. And all of a sudden, I was told about this partnership with Aid of Silence. And so Aid of Silence was the first time that we were told that we could potentially get hearing aids for Kourtney. I immediately filled out the application, and I was very persistent with the school because we needed one document from the school, which was really hard to get. And Aid the Silence said, it's fine, we got you. They took our application, and by that Saturday, we were at the pop-up clinic here in RGV. RGV's pop-up clinic was filled with signs and posters with their hot pink everywhere. And when we walked in, we were embraced. It wasn't a regular doctor's office. Every time we've been to a waiting room, it's cold and you're just another number. But it was different this time because they were excited about us. Everybody was signing and everybody was wearing clear masks so that she could actually understand what they were saying. They had cool coloring things for her to do and candy everywhere. And we walked in and we got to see so many different people all at once. This wasn't waiting 2 months later to see a specialist and going somewhere else to see somebody else. This was all done within 2 to 3 hours. We were here in and done. So we saw the doctor, and for the first time ever, I wasn't rushed out the door. I asked questions and she gave me tips. She explained to me what was going on with her ears. She told me questions to ask other doctors. She encouraged me to keep doing what I was doing. It was the first time that a doctor sat down without looking at their watch, wondering, when's my next patient coming in? So then she got fitted, and she was a little apprehensive, even though we've done it a dozen times. And versus them asking me to sit her on my lap and restrain her, they talked to her like a person. They let her put them on. She played with the dough and she got fitted. And it was the first time I didn't have to just hold her tight. She was slowly becoming a person versus a patient. So we went and we saw, I think her name is Leah, and she had this huge chart that you were able to actually Velcro on where she hears. It was an actual visual of these documents that I get all of the time, and I had no idea what they meant. She was able to tell me why Kourtney couldn't hear certain sounds and why she missed sentences that I was saying, why she wasn't hearing her sister's voice versus her brother's voice. And she pulled up this app, which is incredible that I had never even heard of it, and she's 6, and it was the first time that I, as her mother, heard what Kourtney heard. I felt bad. How many times had I shouted to her, I told you to put your shoes on, but she didn't hear me. And for the first time, I started to realize why she didn't have friends. It's because she couldn't hear them. So it was empowering to actually know what was just going on, and it wasn't her ignoring me. It wasn't us not doing the right things. It was that we needed to continue to sign, and we needed to help her make new friends in a different way. She has a daughter, and her daughter is also deaf. And she talked directly to Kourtney. She got down to Kourtney's level and told Kourtney that she is a superhero, that she can do things that we do, but without being able to hear. And she empowered Kourtney. She showed her that she was okay and that she was special and that she could do anything she wanted when she grew up. For the first time in 6 years, I wasn't worried what Kourtney's tomorrow was going to be. So we walk out and we come down this hallway where everybody is telling us goodbye, and we walk outside and we are greeted with cheering fans, foam fingers that say I love you, and everybody is so excited and happy and clapping for her. It wasn't just a cheering for another kid. This was for Kourtney. This was because everybody in the building was excited that she was going to get hearing aids. This was 6 years in the working, something that was going to give me the testimony that God has been with us and he has never forsaken us. I am so blessed and grateful to have had that moment, because in that moment, I was just completely taken back to the day that I was told that she was broken. And so she went outside and she took pictures with her new best friend, Emma. And she was so happy. There was all of this positive attention towards her. When we got into the car, she looked at me and she said, "Mama, I'm famous." And she said it with authority. She was empowered. She was a different person. Since that day, for the last 2 weeks, she's worn her hearing aids every single day.
Thank you.